I know, Warrior Cats is a long series, and when I first started reading, I had to do a bunch of research to figure out how to read the books. Now I've read all the books, except the mangas and the field guides, which I hope to read. But I have read one manga though. I also have not read the novellas, but I will include everything. I will also state what order to read things in at the end, because books like super editions that you could read at any time, but also include spoilers, and I'll tell you how to avoid the spoilers. If you don't want everything, and just the main series books, then I'll put some timestamps to skip to. Alright, here we go. First, I'm going to state some things you should know and some common misconceptions. Skip to this timestamp on the screen if you just want to get straight into the books. Firstly, no, Dawn of the Clans is a prequel arc, but do not read this first. 2. Though the novellas and super editions are not required to understand the stories, there will be plot holes if you do not read them, so I'd recommend it. 3. Read the books in order. If you do not, none of it will make sense. Alright, now time to get into the real stuff. There are 48 main series books, including the books of the Starlight clan that have been confirmed to exist, but not released yet. Overall, you don't have to read the novellas or mangas to make any sense of the story, but I'll throw a few super editions in here and there because they'll help to make sense of the story more. But that's besides the point. We want to start at the beginning. Arc 1, The Prophecies Begin. This is where it all starts, your warrior cat's journey. First, Into the Wild, Fire and Ice, The Forest of Secrets, Rising Storm, A Dangerous Path, and A Darkest Hour. These 6 books conclude the first arc of Warrior Cats. The next book I would recommend reading are not main series, rather super editions. There are a few of these that I strongly recommend you read at this point, and a few that wouldn't really matter if you read them now or not. The not so strongly recommended books are Blue Star's Prophecy, Yellow Fang's Secret, Crooked Star's Promise, and Tall Star's Revenge. No matter when you read these books are the best of the best. The books I would strongly recommend reading after Arc 1 are Firestar's Quest and Skyclan's Destiny. Although it would not be detrimental to your reading experience, these 2 books would be helpful to read before the next arc, Arc 2. Arc 2 is a new prophecy. This includes Midnight, Moonrise, Dawn, Starlight, Twilight, and Sunset, in that order. That concludes Arc 2, and I have no books to recommend before reading Arc 3, The Power of 3. The books are in this order for Arc 3. The Sight, Dark River, Outcast, Eclipse, Long Shadows, and Sunrise. Again, I have no books to recommend reading before we start Arc 4, which is Omen of the Stars. You read Omen of the Stars in this order. The Fourth Apprentice, Fading Echoes, Night Whispers, Sign of the Moon, Forgotten Warrior, and The Last Hope. Now this is where things start to get wonky. This is because the next arc I would recommend reading is the prequel arc, Dawn of the Clans. But in the Dawn of the Clans arc, we go back to ancient times and get to see what life was like way back when. But at the point of Omen of the Stars, we have enough information so that way we can fully understand the prequels. So the prequel arc, or Arc 5, Dawn of the Clans, goes The Sun Trail, Thunder Rising, The First Battle, The Blazing Star, A Forest Divided, and lastly, A Path of Stars. Now, there are a few things I would recommend reading before reading Arc 6. I strongly recommend reading Bramblestar Storm, as when I started reading Arc 6, and I hadn't read Bramblestar Storm, I was really lost without it. And then I not so strongly recommend, but it would be good, Mothlight's Vision. Next is Arc 6, A Vision of Shadows. It goes The Apprentice's Quest, Thunder and Shadow, Shattered Sky, Darkest Night, River of Fire, and lastly, The Raging Storm. There are no books that I would strongly recommend reading at this time, but there are a few good ones to read now. These are Hawkwing's Journey, Tigerheart's Shadow, Crowfeather's Trial, and One Star's Confession. Then comes Arc 7, A Broken Code. This includes, in this order, Lost Stars, The Silent Thaw, Veil of Shadows, Darkness Within, The Place of No Stars, and A Light in the Mist. Before the next arc, I would recommend the books. I would not strongly recommend the books. as in you have to read them now, but they're good books to read at this point in time. Squirrelflight's Hope and Greystripe's Vow. The last arc that we know of so far, a Starless Clan, including the books River, Sky, Shadow, Thunder, Wind, and one unnamed installment that we will get in 2024, later in 2024. And Wind is also not yet released. And we also have gotten word of a new arc after a Starless Clan, which they had begun working on, the errands, but it's left unnamed for now. So, that's the end of the main series. Any super editions, novellas, mangas I haven't mentioned, you can read at any time. But the problem is that if you read them too early, they could end up spoiling stuff for you. So I'm going to tell you when to read each of them, even if I've already mentioned them before, to avoid spoilers, since they do spoil the books if you don't read them correctly. We'll start with super editions. I've read all these except for the newest one, Riverstar's Home, because I haven't been unable to get it from my library, and Ivy Pulls Heart, because obviously that isn't out yet. Okay, so we'll start with the oldest super edition, Firestar's Quest. You can read this one anytime after Arc 1, but I strongly recommend you read it before you read Arc 2. Blue Star's Prophecy can be read anytime after Arc 1. It's a great book, so the earlier on you read it, the better, but anytime is perfectly fine. Skyclan's Destiny, I recommend anytime after Arc 1, but I strongly recommend it before you read A Vision of Shadows. Crooked Star's Promise, you can read anytime after Arc 1. Again, amazing book. I love it a lot. One of the only Warrior Cats books I own, but anytime after Arc 1 is fine. Then there's Yellowfang's Secret. Again, amazing book. One of the only ones I own, but anytime after Arc 1 is fine. Telstar's Revenge, also one of the only books I own. Great book, anytime after Arc 1. Then there's Bramblestar's Storm. I'd say read this anytime after Omen of the Stars, but I strongly recommend reading it before you read A Vision of Shadows because I was completely lost without reading that. Then there's Mothlight's Vision. This is a fairly good book. There's a bit of controversy on it, but as long as you read it anytime after Dawn of the Clans, it's all good. Hawkwing's Journey, anytime after A Vision of Shadows. This was a sad one. Tigerheart's Shadow, read that anytime after A Vision of Shadows. Crowfeather's Trial, anytime after A Vision of Shadows. Squirrelflight's Hope, after A Broken Code. Greystripe's Vow, also after The Broken Code. Leopardstar's Honor, after Arc 1. One Star's Confession, after A Vision of Shadows. And then Riverstar's Home, I haven't read yet, so I don't really know what to tell you, since it just came out. And then Ivy Pulls Heart, have not read yet because it's not out yet. It'll come 3rd of September 2024. So I'm assuming you just read it sometime after Omen of the Stars based on Ivy Pool's story. But I can't really give you confirmation on those two books yet. Then mangas. I haven't read any of these, but I know what all of them are about. I actually have read one manga. I was lying. I have read one manga. But otherwise, I haven't read any of them. But I know what they're about, so I can tell you when to read them. So, a few of the mangas come in, like, a series. So, for example, one of the first mangas to come out was Greystripe's Adventure. Greystripe's Adventure is 3 books long. It comes with The Lost Warrior, Warrior's Refuge, and Warrior's Return. You should read these books after Arc 2. Then there's The Rise of Scourge. This is just one book, and it can be read anytime after Arc 1. Read anytime after Arc 1. Then there's Tigerstar and Sasha, which should be read after Arc 2, and this contains 3 books as well. It contains Into the Woods, Escape from the Forest, and Return to the Clans. Then there's Ravenpaw's Path. This contains 3 books as well. A Shattered Peace, A Clan in Need, and The Heart of a Warrior. I'd read these mangas after Firestar's Quest and after Skyclan's Destiny. Then there's Skyclan and the Stranger, which contains 3 books. The Rescue, Beyond the Code, and After the Flood. I'd read this anytime after A Vision of Shadows. Then there are a few which I do not know what they're about. A Shadow and River Clan. I don't know. I can't really tell you what it's about. Winds of Change. Again, I don't know. I don't know what it's about. Exile from Shadow Clan. I thought I didn't know, but as I'm recording this, I realize I know what that's about. And I'd say read that after Arc 2, after reading Yellowfang's Secret. And then, lastly, A Thief in ThunderClan, which I have read. And it's fine to read after Arc 1, but I'd say keep it till after Omen of the Stars. Okay, that's it for the mangas. And then we have the novellas. These are the short stories. They come in like little, since they're short stories, a few of them come in one book. So I have to go through each of them. For the untold stories, which contain Hollyleaf's story, Misty Star's Omen, and Cloudstar's Journey, I'd read all of these after A Vision of Shadows. Then there's Tales from the Clans, which contain Tigerclaw's Fury, Leafpool's Wish, and Dovewing's Silence. I'd read all of these after Omen of the Stars. Then there's Shadow of the Clans, which contain Mapleshade's Vengeance, Goosefeather's Curse, and Ravenpaw's Farewell, which I would read after Arc 1, anytime after Arc 1, and you also have to read Crooked Star's Promise and Blue Star's Prophecy. Then there's Legends of the Clans, which contains Spotted Leaf's Heart, Pine Star's Choice, and Thunderstar's Echo, which I would read after Dawn of the Clans and Blue Star's Prophecy. Then there's Path of a Warrior, which contains Redtail's Debt, Tawny Pelt's Clan, and Shadowstar's Life, which I would also read after Dawn of the Clans and Blue Star's Prophecy. Lastly, we have a Warrior... Actually, not lastly. We have a Warrior Spirit, which contain Pebbleshine's Kits, Tree's Roots, and Mothwing's Secret, which I would read after A Vision of Shadows. And then lastly, real lastly this time, A Warrior's Choice, which contain Daisy's Kin, Spotfur's Rebellion, and Blackfoot's Reckoning, which I would read after The Broken Code. So, that concludes it. If you're new to Warrior Cats, read it. It's amazing. I started 2 years ago, and I'm still in the fandom, even though I'm long from finished all of the main series books, and it's great. So, follow the guide, read Warrior Cats, and thanks for watching. And subscribe if you want to see more Warrior Cat stuff.